Technology University in '85, and he got a master degree also in Beijing Institute of Technology in 1998, and he got a PhD degree in Singapore, Nanyang Technology University. After that, he worked in Singapore for several years, and then he got his faculty position in United States, Utah State University, and he worked there for also several years. And in 2012, he joined to University of California, and he now is professor in University of California in the Department of Mechanical. He has his own library about on the robot, airplane, something like that. And it's very important. He's several very important international journals. He is associate editor of very important journal. For example, I think you know it's IFAC Control Engineer Practice, and another is ASME Journal of the Dynamic System and Environment and Control. Very important journal. And I think several. Okay, he's also very important position. He is a very important position. He's co-chair of the IEEE is the technical committee on aero robot and the UAV. I think there's a lot of people with Amunio work on it, and he is the co-chair of the technical committee of the IEEE. So this policy is, I think, very important. Okay, so we are welcome Professor Chen to start his talk. Okay.
Good morning, and thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for inviting me here, and I believe I was so impressed by this great country, great city, great university, and great people. And I don't have any jet lag, so if my presentation is not good, I have nothing to blame except myself. So I want to thank you all for coming, and I want to thank Professor Yu for the invitation. And it's a real pleasure. I have a fractional minutes here. I want to introduce my university. And so, UC Merced. How many of you heard about UC Merced? It's the 10th University of California system. 10th campus established in here, University of California. It's Central California. It's similarly like Mexico City in Mexico. All right, so I think the main reason they set up a research university here is because this area is so poor, it's underdeveloped. So right now I'm living in a developing area in a developed country. So that's really true, really true. And just give you two numbers, probably you can appreciate the different situation. In our university, our students, mainly from low-income families. So like 60% of the students are from the low-income families. And 60% of them are the first generation in the family. So established in 10 years ago, and we graduated the first batch of undergraduate students in 2009. So you can do the math here. I want to emphasize that our university is a research university. It's just like last time here. Okay, we do research. On the other hand, I hope we share the same criteria that doing research means there is no room for number two. There is only room for number one. You have to do the first class cutting edge research. Let me repeat, there's no room for number two. Okay? So we are a research university who put a very high standard on research. Okay? And we are mainly an undergraduate student. And this is called Hispanic Serving Institute. And this is called a Minority Serving Institute. So this designation will allow us to do to apply grants in a separate channel, I hope. We have quite a lot of PhD students, and now this number is bigger, almost 7,000. By year 2020, a few years later, we're going to have 10,000 students population in the campus. So we have a very unique title regarding this university. We call ourselves the first research university established in the United States in the 21st century. Okay? And you see lots of cows there. Initially, I believe the population of cows is bigger than students. But now it's opposite, I believe. Another side information is in year 2009, our first graduation ceremony, and Michelle Obama attended, gave a keynote speech, convocation. This graduation speech is very inspiration talk. And so this is regarding my lab, is one slide summary. And I have 5 PhD students, 1 master students, a few exchange scholars, and lots of undergraduate researchers. My lab is known as a drone lab. Okay, drone lab. So doing unmanned aero systems. We have 5 areas of excellence. The first one is unmanned aero systems, and cyber physics systems, and renewable energy systems, and mechatronic systems. And last but not least is applied fractional calculus. So that's the main topic I'm going to talk today. I just said that doing research is really hard. There's no room for second place. Okay? But however, if you have some magic tool, mathematical tool, that could enable you to do first-class research. That magic tool, I believe I'm going to share with you, is called fractional calculus. Many of you probably will be the first time you heard about this, so I'm going to answer your questions, like why we need to care about this, why this is important to your career. But before that, let me share you my vision. Before my retirement, what I want to see happen. This is what I call scientific data drone valley. So this is Silicon Valley, okay? And this is Yosemite National Park. In the middle, I'm going to build a data drone valley, meaning we use the drones for precision agriculture and environmental monitoring. I will see the widespread use of these drones before my retirement. Okay? And so initially, I put my emphasis on my footprint in here. So this is UC Merced, and here are a few neighboring cities. So this is called Central Valley. So I'm going to make it a drone valley. So if we're successful, I believe we can generalize this one to other parts of the world. In fact, I'm now starting talking to Mexican researchers and farmers regarding how to use drones to increase the productivity of agriculture. Okay? So the precision agriculture enabled by the scientific data drones. But I'm not going to talk drones today. I'm going to talk fractional calculus. But you will see the drones outside. I already talked to them. So I believe we share a lot of friends. And so today, let's come down and think about this. What if there is a secret tool there you never learned before that could enable you to do first-class research? Modeling, signal processing, whatever, controls, physics. I gave a talk last Friday in our university in front of all the physicists and physics department, the graduate students. My talk title was, Why Good Physicists Need Fractional Calculus. So today, first I'm going to briefly go through those questions, triple W, okay? What and why and when, okay? And so then I'm going to show you a worked out an example about fractional order modeling to convince you that, wow, it really can beat the best. It really can achieve more optimal performance. Listen carefully about the word I'm using, more optimal. It's not very mathematically right. So you already optimal, then why you say more optimal? Later on, I'm going to further elaborate a distributed order fractional order modeling for a complex relaxation process to show you the powerfulness of this generalization concept for our modeling. Okay. Later, I'm going to briefly share with you about all those magic tools in the toolbox. What are those tools in the fractional order signal processing? Briefly. Then I'm going to summarize and give you take-home messages. Yeah, already? You excited? Forget about drones for the minute. Talk to me the drones later. I'm actually very familiar with anything related to drones, but let's talk about fractional calculus. So what is fractional calculus? And then we'll answer the question about, oh, what is calculus? Calculus is nothing but it's differentiation and integration. That's all. And fractional calculus meaning integration and differentiation of a non-integer order. Okay, non-integer order. So orders could be real numbers, it could be complex numbers, and it could be a variable. Okay, of an output of another system. Could be. Orders are not. Oh, sorry. Orders are not. Okay. Orders are not constrained to be integers or even fractions. So using fractional is just for historical reason. So the orders are not limited to fractionals. It could be non-integers. Okay? So how this is possible, and why should I care? And is there anything good for me? Okay, so these are very natural questions. Okay, so bring these questions and try to find answers in my next talk. So I did the experiment on my son, saying that x squared means 2x multiplied together, and x cubic is 3x multiplied together. So I asked him, what about x to the power of 2.5? He cannot answer. Okay. He's an elementary student. So you probably cannot remember when that question is no longer a question about x, when x could be a non-integer. You probably forgot when you transformed your thinking. Already. Now you realize that n could be anything, right? N could be anything. But when you were an elementary student, you always believe this must be integer. Okay? The same thing, you can see that it's very easy to understand that in between integers there are non-integers. There was a saying that God invented integers, and human beings invented all others. So, so that's what I'm trying to tell you, that generalization from integer to non-integer in a different context is a very natural learning and perception process for a human being. So like gamma function, factorial gamma function is very natural generalization. Okay? Okay. So for the real world we live, we believe is three-dimensional. It is. But since 1970s, and Mandelbrot is trying to educate us that the dimension does not necessarily to be an integer. So that's why there's another metric is called fractal dimension. So it's possible you can introduce non-integer dimensions. And those non-integer dimensions can characterize those roughness of signal or those holes of the spin or holes of 3D. So this is widely accepted today. Okay. So so going in between, did I miss something? Yeah. Now it's widely believed that going in between integers, you have non-integers, and going in between logic 0 and 1, you have fuzzy logic. And it's already in the every family, I guess, and it's neuro-fuzzy. So it's called fuzzy logic. Right? So it's similar idea. So I'm going to say that this kind of in-between thinking in traditional Chinese philosophy, ancient Chinese philosophy, they say in-between thinking, going in between, I think usually will give you good consequences. We'll see. So from 0 to 1, you have fuzzy logic. You also learn about splines, cubic splines, and quadratic splines. You have fractional order splines. You have moments, okay? Moments. You have a fractional non-integer order moments. There's fractional lower order statistics. I'm going to mention this one later. So there are cases that its second order moment does not exist. Okay? So you have to do lower order statistics. We talked about this. Also, fractional Fourier transformation going in between integers as well. So non-integer order calculus is regarding the dynamic behind it. So it's funny that we already doing this one every day. You prefer a tool like this, you can adjust the dimension of the range. Instead of every time you bring a whole box of ranges of different sizes, so you get the job done, right? Or combination of these things. So in fact, this is a Richard Megan slide, and he stole this from his students. So as professors, they have opportunities to learn from their students. So that's true. That fractional calculus is like adjustable ranges. A tool. So, but you may wonder, you say, oh yeah, I'm a rigorous graduate student. I want to see the definition of fractional calculus. So let's talk about when this one happened. So Riemann-Liouville's definition is, something like this, okay, something like this. So alpha's derivative of a function of t. So basically, you do this convolution, and you do an integer order differentiation after that. This looks weird. So alpha is in between these two integers, okay? But if I use a convolution, I assume you know convolution. So, by the way, I talked to a lot of people, they never heard about convolution. So, but you have basically a convolution kernel with this. And so this is, you can say if this guy is 1, so you're basically doing an integer order first integral of the f of t, okay? So, so if it is not, then you will have a power law kernel to do convolution will be alpha's integral of the function. So then what is the differentiation? So it's interesting. We define fractional order integration first, then do fractional order differentiation later. Okay. So basically, what we do is alpha's derivative is do 1 minus alpha's integral, fractional integral, then do integer order derivative. Okay. So then you will see this one like this, and this is exactly the same as this. All right. So you do fractional order integral first, do the integer order differentiating later. So I hope you appreciate that. There are other familiar type of definitions like finite difference. Okay, so then we just generalize everything. Like you have first derivative like this, remind you, and you have a fractional order, then you do a binomial expansion. So from this point, you will see that it can be unified. There's no need to differentiate the integer and the non-integer order differentiation or integration. So you have unified definition. The commonly used definitions are from Letnikov and Riemann-Liouville. So this is more visual, and it's from Wikipedia. So you have an original function y of x, you have straight line, you do first derivative, you got y is 1. If you do a -1 derivative, which is first integral, you'll have half x squared, right? This purple one. So it's from 1 first to -1 to 1, right? So you can see from -1 to 1, you do the fraction order derivative, you'll see this constantly going in between. So this tells you it's indeed something in between. All right, from -1's order to +1's order. Okay, so then we can do something similar. So you have original sine function, and this is the order. 0th order is the original function sine t, and your first order derivative you have cosine t, and there are something in between. Okay, so that's enough for now. And so this is similar. You have this ramp function. You do differentiation. First order, you have a square wave, and you have half derivative with something in between. 0.75, you have this. Okay. So officially, it was born in 1695. So when Lockdale asked Leibniz a question, what happened when n is half? Okay. But remember, Leibniz and Newton, they are enemies. Okay? And Newton invented differentiation by using f dot. Okay, f dot. But if you cut one dot, you will get two dots. Okay, so that means notation is very important in research. Okay, so from that point of view, I vote Leibniz is smarter than Newton. Okay. So that because of him, of the notation, he can ask this question, so that the fractional calculus can be born, right? So, so what are the good consequences? I'll just use myself as an example. We publish a series of work, and so these are useful consequences. So, like Leibniz said, it leads to a paradox, from which one day useful consequences will be drawn. And you could harvest these consequences as well. And this is our consequences. Okay, so 2010, and we'll have 10 years accumulation of work in this book, and we have a few years work, and then this is processing and signal and fractional random processes. Okay, and we focused very specific on motion controls. So to see we bring in fractional calculus as well as benefits. And we did two real-world applications. One is hard disk drives. We use hard disk drives, and we worked with Samsung. And we also flew fractional order flight controllers. So those two chapters are with lots of experiments, real-world experiments. And this one, this one, I'm going to introduce today a little bit about distributed order systems. You probably heard that in the same system, you look at different resolution, a different scale, you draw different conclusions about the dynamics. Okay? People are talking about, oh, the system behavior is a scale rich. There's so many scales in there. Scale rich. So how you characterize those scale rich behavior? You need fractional order, distributed order dynamic system, modern one. So there's one thing to find out. I don't want to self-promoting too much, but this is really something I feel like I have to share with you. We published a paper in IFAC Control Engineering Practice. This is a top application journal in controls. And that paper was the #1 cited paper for many years. Okay, for many years. And by recognizing that, they gave us the best journal paper award. And so make us 500 euros this year. So it's a huge honor, and I believe this is still widely cited. Lots of people gain insights from reading this. It's called tuning and auto tuning of fractional order controllers for industrial applications. Okay. And so let me do another pitch. Remember, suppose you are the smartest person in the world. Suppose you are living in the area, in the time before the calculus was invented. What you really can start is do research. No matter how smart you are, you can only do something like algebra and static models, geometry, stuff like that. Only when calculus was invented, we can talk about dynamic models, dynamic systems, and governed by integer order differential equations. Okay? And today you heard that actually you are here, you are going to have a new calculus, a more generalized now. So you can study fractional order model. Okay, fractional order model. So it's actually the beginning of a new stage. So I would like to say, why bother? Because we always want better control performance, better insights, better characterization of this complex phenomenon in front of us. So things are so complex. Today we study a lot of things, so we use so simplified models for the complex real system in front of us. So then we need further performance, then we need better model. That's for sure. So let's do some simple ones. Assuming that you know frequency response, assuming you know the body plots, so transfer functions. So first order differentiation is S. First order integrating one of S. S is Laplace transform symbol here. You put a j omega there, you will get frequency response. So this is a magnitude body. X-axis is the omega is the frequency in the log scale. And this is the phase. So for integration, this is the integration. So you have a straight line here. The slope of the straight line is minus 20 dB per decade. And the phase will be minus 90 degrees. So the integrator always gives you the phase lag. And it is a constant lag. And same thing for differentiation. You have a positive 20 dB per decade, and you have plus 90 degrees. Okay. So what if, so fractional calculus basically for controls from the processing point of view. So talk about s to the power of alpha when alpha is no longer an integer. Can this be legal or something wrong? So of course, try that in the MATLAB. You can draw one of a square root of s. You can do that. So the code, I put it here, you can cut paste and then you generate this. So this is no longer minus 20 dB per decade, you can guess. It's minus 10 dB per decade. Okay? And then the phase is not minus 90, it's minus 45. It's that. Okay? Okay? So at this point, if you are a control guy and you are going to ask, wow, maybe sometimes we use integer order integrator in the plant to do as a controller, probably it's too much. To drag the phase too much. Probably we only need a fraction of integration. Makes sense. That's the basic what we tried for many years. It's legal and it's everywhere, from my point of view. It's everywhere. My muscle system, my brain's analog system of fractional order. No problem. Okay, so my colleagues, Paolo Lugni and his group, tried the analog realization using just the op-amps and some RC networks, and then we can realize this one over square root of s. It's called half-order integrator, and in real world, and they can do this minus 10 dB decade, minus 10 dB per decade. This body plot, and this is minus 45 degrees. Not that constant, but it's good enough. Well, it's possible, and it's legal, and of course, it's realizable. And in 2005, we get NSF small business research grant to explore this strange capacitor, which is very lossy, so that it will produce impedance like this, j omega tau to power 1 lambda. Lambda is not 1. This is a physical device. Okay, we can do that. This is Parlovny, me when I was young. This is Gary Bohanna, the PI for this project. It's very interesting. So we did this type of integration in here, breadboard, and put this one into a chamber and start to heat it, to cook it, to see how the order will change versus the temperature. And it's very interesting discovery. Published a paper in the European Journal, Physics Journal. But if you, so the reason I put it here is draw your attention that you are actually using fractional order systems every day. In an electrochemistry subject, this constant phase element is nothing but a fractional order device. Okay, so you know that in your phone you have batteries in there, right? Do you know that battery is an electrochemical system? It is electrochemistry. So your phone has a fractional order device inside. That's battery. Okay. The battery is a fractional order device. Okay. So whenever you check those things, you should just think about this fractional system immediately. So there are a lot of literature along this line. But too bad, a lot of people didn't realize they are doing fractional calculus research until recently. And for control people like me, I'm a hardcore control person. Okay, so I do all types of controls. So how to do approximation of this fractional order integration is very fundamental. Okay, when we implement the fractional order controls. So we contributed in this field since year 2001. So basically, how you can construct a polynomial B of S, A of S so that they are very close. So that in the range of frequency range of interest is exactly like fractional calculus. What I showed you, constant phase and minus 20 dB times gamma slope. So there are different schemes. So the code, you can download the code from this link to do the same curve I showed you here. Okay. So I propose something. So this one is a very good fit in frequency domain, but it may not be very good in impulse response comparison. So how we can do both, approximate both in a good way. So I suggest what I call impulse response invariant discretization for this. So it turns out it's a much better approximation. Okay? A much better approximation. So you directly get a digital form. Okay. So just let you know that you can do it. The code is in the MATLAB Central. So we haven't answered the question about how. We said how. So these are questions about what, how, and when. Now is when I should use them. Okay. So the idea is whenever you see any word in here, you should immediately think about fractional calculus, fractional model. Okay. Okay. So I cannot go through all of them, but you probably heard about anomaly. So the reason we say something is anomalous is because we use the wrong calculus. So we cannot fit it well, describe the behavior very well. So we say, oh, this is an anomalous behavior. Okay. So if you Google the following, you will be surprised. So from fractional order modeling point of view, anomalous is normal. There isn't anything surprise called anomalous. Okay. And anything complex systems, anything from bio, like living matters, you should consider to use fractional order immediately. Okay. Well, I think it's better to see an example. Okay, so people may say, "Oh, I have been using integer order modeling nicely so far in the past 300 years. Nothing wrong." Yes, nothing wrong. Yes, but the question is, sometimes you want to do better than the best possible so far. What are you going to do? You will need fractional patterns. So this is exactly the example I'm going to show you. So everybody knows the heat transfer. Your room temperature, you turn something on, you will see a S-shaped function. You will get kind of what we call reaction curve for the system. You do first order plus delay. It's a room temperature model. Sure, you can do that. But from physics point of view, the authentic model should be governed by heat equation. And you have proper boundary initial conditions. And you also have one x is the distance. The heat at the one end is empty is your heat source applied to there. Then you go to x go to infinity. I assume that the temperature is the temperature at the position x and time t. It will not go to infinity. So this is a physical limit. Because of that, we can turn this PDE into the ODE, and then we solve this y, and here is what we get. So it turns out that y can be written as this, and apply initial conditions. You eliminate one term because it cannot be infinity. So in the end, you got something like this. This is called irrational transfer function. This is irrational. Okay, irrational. So if you do a Taylor series expansion, you will see an infinite number of half-order integrators. Okay, so but let's not argue about that. Let's just do a side-by-side comparison. Say this is my ideal system transfer function. I will use a fractional order, integer order. This is integer order, first order plus delay of 3 parameters here, right? So because we got a motivation that there's s to the power of 0.5 somewhere, so I believe that s should be raised to a 0.5 in here. Okay, so you will not damage anything. Okay, let's just compare them. We all have 3 parameters. See which one. So I use this one to fit this one to fit this, in terms of step response. Okay. So you may argue that why bother you look at this one? So I want to share with you that depending on the usefulness, okay, all models are wrong, but some of them are useful. And there's another guy said all models are wrong, some of them are dangerous. Okay, but I believe that it's not so dangerous using this. But using this could give you a very surprising better results. Okay, and this line of research can also continue. But here, my purpose is to show you that in terms of modeling, that I can, under the same fairness condition, all 3 parameters, I want to show you that this guy will beat the best of this guy. Okay, fair enough? How to do that? So let's do a step response. This is a step constant, and then you have an input is 1 of s. Transfer function we already learned is e to the power of minus square root of s times, this is a step. So this transfer function times input is output. So then output we do this one, and then we inverse Laplace transform of this guy, we get this. So this is from 0 to 1. So this is step response. But you may say, oh, I never learned how to do inverse of this thing. Don't worry, you will learn now. So using this magic code, and putting any expression into somewhere like this, f, you put something, anything you like in here with an analytical expression. This code will get you a inverse Laplace transform. It's called numerical inverse transform. So you can read the paper from here we wrote quite a while ago, and evaluated different numerical inverse Laplace transform projects and codes. And we believe this piece of code is the best performing code, most robust, give most reliable results. Okay. So we have input. We are going to fit So the integer order, fraction order. So let's do the fitting. So to the fitting, you also do a step response of this one and a step response of this one. So then here's the fitting result. So you can see that for integer order, you have a 0.1 residue j, and this one is much better, 0.02. It's like almost 1 order of magnitude better. Okay. So remember, this best beats this best. Okay. But you may say, how I do this? Can I reproduce this result? Yes. Here's the code. Okay. So and you can learn from that. I'll give you the slides. And so you can do the code. But just to remind you, in the code, there's something called a meta-Leffler function. Okay, meta-Leffler function. Just be careful. So here is the main message of this example, that we just, remember 0.5 was motivated by physics. Okay? So we just bring this one into this little bit. So because the fractional order model captures more physics. It's not pure mathematical model in the integer order sense. So the reaction code fitting, we can claim that we can do better than the best integer order fractional order plus time delay model. Okay, so this could be a nice starting point for better controller design or not. Okay, I leave this one to you. You don't even have to acknowledge me. So starting from this one, you design your controller. It is indeed interesting. One of the investigations I'm looking at is what I call energy efficiency controller. Okay, so whether we have a small control signal can achieve the same control performance? The answer is yes. Fractional order controllers can bring in more energy efficient control. Okay, think about the elevator runs days and nights. If you save like 0.1% or 0.001%, adding together is significant, right? Years after years. So it's worth to look into those energy efficiency things. But using this one as a starting point, you have a better chance to do better than the best possible people. So on control, guys, I'm going to convince you that you only learn 20% of these things here, or 25%. It's called integer order controller and integer order plans. Okay, there are other three options waiting for you to explore. Okay, and today we only talk about fractional order modeling. Okay, so the control part I didn't touch today, but in the books already lots of existing work, and I see more and more people are jumping into this one and doing the research. So it's already 5 years since the book published. And all the results is about 10, 15 years old. Some of them. Well, here's another figure to convince you that if you look at that fractional order control, and everybody knows PID control, why this is important. In industry, 90% of the controls are of PI and PID type. It's so dominant, so it's almost everywhere. Okay, so if I use the order lambda and mu in here, you will see what we used in industry only these 4 dots, okay, 4 possibilities. But if you open the non-integer orders, you have infinite possibilities here. So my assumption is there may be something not at the edge. Not at the edge. No, it's not at the vertex. Not at the vertex. That will bring us the performance, best performance. This is already being illustrated in our book and previous work. It's very interesting as well. So I call it fractional order control. Fractional order control from points to plane. So again, I'll return back to this one, and I hope you got a feeling that this adjustable range could benefit you in your study, in your research area. Okay, could. I said could. So I'm going to show you even more interesting examples. Here, So I'm going to talk about cancer. So curing cancer is the beginning of human being. Cancer is a human bottleneck as a species. Okay, so we need to fight for it all the time. So there's another bottleneck. It's called energy storage, the battery. The battery is our bottleneck as well. We cannot store compactly more efficiently the battery. So you see today that when we talk about battery or we'll talk about cancer, they all need help from fractional catalysts. We'll see. So let's talk about NMRI. So I'm not going to go through this cancer metastasis in here with you, but I'm going to show you one diagnosis they do for the relaxation of transverse magnetization strands. So you understandable that different matter, different soft matter, okay, will relax in a different rates. This is called T2 relaxation. Okay. And it's possible we can gain this kind of relaxation, okay, by applying what they call CPMG power sequence. So you end up getting the relaxation curve like this, okay, like this. So I call this as a complex relaxation. So you may say, oh, I have a time constant tau in there, but the question is, how do you know there is only one tau? So this is actually called Derby relaxation. So you use one tau to fit this thing. It looks okay, but how do you know there's only one? Why not infinite number of taus? So that's the guy, 49, he suggested using this one. Using infinite number of low-pass filters adding together to fit this thing. So instead of you have a tau to see normal tissue or organ response to the T2 relaxation here, and then you have a curve, distribution curve, that probably can tell better about the diagnosis. So you have better inform the diagnosis. But the story will not end up here. And there's so you may imagine that people try to use S-risk power. It's too bad it's already been used many years ago, 1941. Coco, the two brothers maybe. It's called Coco relaxation. They said, oh, sometimes no matter how you do the best fitting, you still cannot fit it well. You have to introduce this non-integer to be able to do perfect fitting. Okay? And so again, we can do a parallel generalization about this thing about why you have one time constant. Can you do a distribution? That's from my group 5 years ago. I was so excited about this. But I discovered this paper after I published this, so I feel like, wow, doing research is hard. The reason you claim something new is because you didn't read it. It's not very sad. We didn't cite that article. I feel guilty. But I just wanted to share with you that kind of generalization of infinite number of time constants could be really interesting. So now you start to say, wait a minute, alpha is non-integer. Can we remember infinite number of alpha? Okay, so scale rich. So in fact, you can generalize a lot of complex relaxation models. Okay, so you can do these are all for time constant distribution, So you raise the power like that. You have a power in here and raise beta, or you have one in here, raise alpha. So it's called Davidson, the co-Davidson model. This is different type of model. So now the question is, can we integrate in with respect to the tau? Can we integrate it with respect to gamma? Sure, you can do that. That's exactly the book about distributed order dynamic system is about. So we believe that the order here reflects the scale in the phenomenon. But what if the scale is continuum? You have so many scales. And the multi-scale analysis is popular. Multi-scale modeling is popular. But what if the scale is continuum? Then it's continuous. Then you have to use this type of model. Now, how you do that? How you simulate? How you numerically simulate? So this book, that book gives you the answer. Okay? Very small book. So now here is the lesson we have to say that. So you capture more complexities, more information, more parameters. You're more close to nature, but you have to stop at some point, right? Okay, remember that we need to have a trade-off of the complexities of the model. So I'll just share with you that if it is good enough to work for you, then it's okay. You don't have to keep pursuing that model complexity. Okay? So we did an example, and we can simulate the data at a lot of noise, and we have alpha is 0.75. We have this one. We don't know what is alpha in here, but there is an alpha. So we did this type of scanning of the order, find out the best alpha is 0.75. Remember, for healthy and unhealthy tissues, the response of the alpha will be different. If I have enough data, I can show you. But I leave these results to you. You can do better diagnosis of cancer by scanning this alpha. Now you see a dip, you write down the number, then you use comparison and control data sets. You will get very interesting results. All right, take-home message. Did I finish? So whenever you should have, when you should have fraction order models. So if you are handling signals from a complex system, either biological, physiological, behavioral, social, man-made, natural, or whatever, it could be your take-home message. So let me check my time. So, how much time I still have?
Yes, 5 minutes.
5 minutes? So actually I have more. So when we should use this fraction order thinking? And so let me show you the real take-home message. I'm going to show you this one. Fraction order signal processing. I want to share something with you, very important. At some time, we had a project at NIH talking about soil remediation. We tried to genetically engineer bacteria, and so that the bacteria will love to eat some certain kind of chemicals, but how you can quantify the chemotaxis behavior, so called bioremediation performance, and how you can tell whether the bacteria after genetic engineering they become more or less likely to eat that specific target chemicals, so gunpowder or heavy metal. So what we get is just some sort of a random motion of the bacteria. You can see they are swimming. Under the microscope, you can get that. So I'm going to show you they are walking in a non-individual dynamic way. Okay? So you record those things as just a random motion. You remember random motion when you drop a droplet into the packet in the water and you diffuse the ink, then you unify, right? So that kind of thing is similar to here. But it's different in the sense there are fraction order dynamics in there. I want to show with you that this is a time points. This is a variance, and you check its variance is not convergent. The more data you have, actually the worse of the variance is density. It's not convergent. So the same for x and y. This is already telling you that there is a fraction order dynamics behind. So it's a good news. It's not a second order process. The variance is not convergent. So lots of research opportunities for fraction order calculus, fraction order signal processing. So let me just show you by contrast. You have normal distribution by MATLAB. The more data you have, then this is the variance estimation, running estimation. The variance will converge, right? And then you do a uniform distributed, then you have something. But that bacterial motion, the variance is density is never convergent. Okay, so here's a very important message. When you meet any random data, you should check its random variance. If it is not convergent, it's dancing, like what I showed you, you should be careful. Because the variance is divergent, it's infinite. All the signal processing techniques is based on the least square type of fitting or minimization idea. So think about you are trying to minimize something that is infinite. It will lead a lot of absurd conclusions. Okay, so just give you a warning about these things. Okay, so you need fractional order signal processing techniques. So here is a summary of all those techniques. I don't have time to go through them. But what I just said is regarding the fractional order moments and fractional order statistics. Those will converge at the right alpha. When the alpha is higher than some value like 1.5, then it will diverge. Less than 1.5, it will converge. So that critical alpha is an indicator of that nature of that data, stochastic data. And that can be used to quantify whether the bacteria is becoming more likely to eat the target chemicals or not. Make sense? It is. Okay, we published in this direction already. So, no, I don't have time to go through this one. So basically, you will see that in time, this time domain, frequency domain, you have a signal and a noise. You do a time domain filtering or frequency domain filtering, you cannot separate them. So you can separate them at a non-integer order, like less than 90 degrees. So this is the angle. So this is called fractional order Fourier transformation. In this fractional order domain, you can separate your noise and signal perfectly. Okay. Okay. So the variability and the randomness will benefit us if we check its fractional order nature. So this is a healthy and an unhealthy subject. So it's a heartbeat variability. So your every heartbeat are different. So the difference will make what they call HRV. So with the spectrum of that, we're going to see the slope is non-integer order. Okay? Okay. So the value of this number can be used to tell whether a subject is healthy or unhealthy. Okay, and this can be further used for quantification of your attention or your emotion and so on and so forth. And so the question is, are you paying attention? Can this be quantified? This could be if you use fractional calculus. We publish papers on this direction as well. So this all linked to how this all linked to fractional calculus. So you will see Gaussian distribution is embedded in our brain, but there are many other things like Cauchy and Liebig. There are algebraic tails beyond 3 sigma. So it's linked to fractional calculus by this fractional order PDEs. Okay, this is a paper you have to read if you want to know more about why they are connected to fractional calculus. So you can see fractional order in time, fractional order space. Both can be used to quantify why there are different types of distribution. There's a probability distribution, okay? PDF. So this is a heavy tail. You can see the Gaussian is like this. Red one is algebraic tail. Okay? So you have Brownian motion, you have Levy flights. You have different types of spikiness and burstiness. These all hint at the fractional order dynamics in there. And so I have a student who studied network traffic, but also HRV, as I told you, outliers in time series and bio signals. These are all fractional order signal processing tools. So in one slide, we can show you the connection about fractional calculus, long-range dependence, power law. And so you can see, just put a white noise screen through fractional integral. And then you are going to get autocorrelation of the output. Then you will get power law in here. You get power law of impulse response in here, and so on and so forth. So these connections are recorded in this recorded lecture, but all connected via fractional calculus. Power law, scale phrase, heavy tailness, long-range dependence, long memory, complex due to fractional dynamics. So it's a Vimeo you can watch. I gave more examples there. So I really have to stop. But so bring this one home, go fractional, and so I learned that here in semester there are many good researchers on multi-objective optimization. So I did some trick. I'll show you my work. So you can see the law of a local optimum. Did you see local optimum? I applied fractional calculus. I did a Levy flights for. Okay. So you can see that this is fractional order random signal. So if you have a random, you can introduce fractional calculus into there. You will have much better probability to get to the global optimum. So just give you. So I'll stop here and thank you very much for your attention.
Question and some comment.
Comments.
Some question? Comment? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, perhaps it's one question. You asked at the beginning that you work with drones. So, did you have used this fractional calculus for some kind of research on your group in drones? Do you have something to say about that?
Yes, well, in year 2010, we flew the drones using fractional order flight controls. There's a paper detailed all the flight results and fair comparison in control engineering practice. It's 2010 paper.
How about the results?
Yes, of course, it's better.
Much better?
Yeah, much better. But it's very difficult to draw that conclusion using flight test data. You have to maintain the weather conditions, the fair conditions. You have to switch the different controllers. So that took us almost half a year to do the experiments. It's outdoor real experiments, fix the wing, not the rotary. Rotary wing is easy, One of my students is looking at the rotary wing, quad rotor, fractional visual and stuff. But I don't feel excited anymore because we could fix it in the harness. The fixed wing is very difficult to do this benchmark. Very difficult.
Okay, thank you. So I have to close here, and I have the memory for you. This is for your final talk. Okay, thank you.